Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. And before I do anything else, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there who do so much for your families and your kids. We appreciate that, and congratulations on your day. In the meantime, we have a lot to get into. We're going to talk about the NHL now with COVID-19 testing increasing, hub city statuses. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about Cam Hayward, some of the stuff he said this week. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be baseball, which continues to be on this never-ending treadmill. No deals, money, greed, and now we wonder, can they even play a season? And here to talk about that with you is our panel, Rich Walsh, my colleague over in Studio B, Andrew Fillipponi from The Fan up at the Green Tree Studios at 93.7 The Fan. All right, Andrew, we'll start with you on this. So we saw back and forth this week. Rob Manfred thought he had a deal, and then Tony Clark basically said, not so fast. We're going to counter-propose. So we're stuck between 70 and 60. Is there a way to compromise? Is that possible? Because time is running out.
Well, in a perfect world, they'd just, split the baby in half like King Solomon said, and they'd play 65 or 66 games. Call it the Super Mario season, make it a 66-game season, Bob, in honor of the great Mario Lemieux, but it's not going to happen. Okay, the owners will not do that. So in my opinion, I think the players, and they're voting on it so supposedly in the next 24 hours, I think they should take the 60 games. And I say that because they said they did this big Twitter campaign, Mike Trout, Christian Yelich, Clayton Kershaw, tell us when and where. And the owners did. They gave them 60 games, fully prorated salary, a full day's pay for a full day's work. So I think if the players now try to drag this out and threaten a grievance, it's going to flip again, Richie. I know you've been on the players' side with us lately, but I think if the players say no, the heck with it, over 4 or 5 games, they're going to look like the bad guys again in all of this.
I'm really tired of this, guys. I mean, first I was for the owners, then I was for the players. I don't even know what to think now. Honestly, there's a part of me, and baseball's my favorite sport. I grew up the biggest Pirates fan. Baseball's my favorite sport, but there's a part of me that doesn't even want them to come back. Fix it, see what happens.
Why is that?
Because maybe it'll fix baseball. Maybe it'll wake up the owners and players that they're not that important right now.
I think it's going to only make it worse if they don't play this year.
Well, believe me, I want them to come back. There's just a part of me to say, hey, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens right now if baseball doesn't come back. Maybe we'll get a salary cap. Maybe we'll get a salary floor. That's what baseball needs right now. There needs to be parity. Baseball can't continue like this.
I agree, but it ain't gonna happen
now.
It will not be what it is
there's
now.
There's going to be no cap. There's only going to be a floor because if they don't play this year, the owners aren't going to want to pay big salaries beyond this season. That's one of the mistakes I think the players are making here. If you try to win the battle right now and get the owners to go up to 65 or 66 games, you mark my words, they will hold it against the players this next offseason in free agency. They'll say we didn't have fans at games, we couldn't make enough money, we can't afford to pay these guys, and then they'll really get it over on the players 2 years from now when the CBA is up. So to me, the players got to be mindful of that. It's not just don't try to just win and get every penny right now because there's a bigger battle down the road if the league loses all this money with no fans in ballparks.
Let me ask you guys this. Going through these negotiations right now with the new CBA or this CBA for this particular season, will that help or will it hurt after next season when they come up to the real CBA negotiations?
It's all going to hurt. There's going to be a lockout. I don't see any way around it. I think the greed is always going to be there on the part of the owners and the players. But I want to move on to something else, Rich, and I'll start with you on this one. And this is about some of this other stuff that came out of this meeting between Manfred and Tony Clark. Other things, we knew about the designated hitter, but they're talking about extra innings starting each inning with a runner at second base. They're talking about even accepting ties as outcomes to games. Rich, what do you think about that?
I don't mind the tie thing, but putting a runner at second base, this is becoming ridiculous right now. Let's just play baseball and see what happens. That's what we should do. Let's play 60 games. The players need to take this. I don't mind ties right now.
Richie?
Anything to get baseball back, I don't mind. I'll take a tie. I'll take a tie in baseball. We have ties in football. We have ties in hockey, essentially. I mean, there'll be a winner with a shootout.
No, we don't.
Why don't we just have a tie and a home run derby? Let's have a tie and a home run derby. Maybe that's what we do.
Fans
I hate having a runner
so much in the
start
NHL.
on second base. What's the point of that?
The point
That's
is,
like your
problem
4th and 15th rule that both you guys like. That was stupid.
No, it wasn't.
This is dumb.
No, the difference between those two things is 4th and 15 with the game on the line is an exciting play. The problem as I see it with the runner at second base is how many managers are going to say this? Let's bunt the guy over to third base, play for a sacrifice fly, and try to get a run every time. That's not exciting. Baseball's got an entertainment problem, okay? And to me, starting a guy at second base, these managers, I think they'll try to play small ball and score the run without an out and just try to get the run across. So to me, that doesn't make the game any more exciting. And as far as ties are concerned, Richie, sports fans don't like ties. That's why there's a shootout in 3-3 overtime, and that's why the NFL plays for 10 or 15 minutes to make sure that a tie doesn't happen.
I don't
Nobody
like
likes
ties
them.
either. Well, then let's say it's a 9-inning game, and let's cap it at 11. And if there's not a winner by 11 innings, then let's move on. I don't think there should be ties. I don't understand why this is even proposed. Play 60 games, play it as normal. But if you have to play ties this year, then do it. Just give us baseball, right?
Yeah, but they're trying to, they're going to try to cram maybe 60 games into 66 days. The way things are moving right now, the training camp that they had in mind, Andrew, is not going to be there. It's going to be later now because of all of a sudden positive tests, which leads me to this topic with you. Has coronavirus, the comeback, has it jeopardized sports in general, Andrew? Because it seems to me that while we were all optimistic, I think generally about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't feel the same way. Do you?
Well, I'm not, you know what, Bob, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not maybe as pessimistic as most because everything I've seen so far suggests that we are seeing more positive cases, which was to be expected with more tests, no hospitalizations, no serious cases. So until I see something, until I see the data or proof that says that athletes or staff are put in a position where their lives are at serious risk, until that happens, I don't think you can shut it down. I mean, should they have shut down the golf event on Friday when Nick Watney tested positive?
No,
they continued to play.
They did the contact tracing, and there were no other. Now, in 5 days from now, that can change because Rich Watney tested negative on Tuesday, and by 3 days later, he tested positive. I don't know what happened in the interim, but that's the problem with this.
Yeah, this is a different one. This is difficult. You want everyone to be healthy. You don't want anyone to get it. You don't want to put anyone in jeopardy. I have an 86-year-old grandmother. I'm not worried about me getting it so much, but I don't want to pass it on to my grandmother or my mom or someone like that. I don't even want to get it, but I think I would be better off getting it than someone like that. So you don't want anyone to get this. I think the best way to do it is what the NBA is doing. Play in one area, try to get everything in, and don't let anyone leave Walt Disney World. That's the best way to do it, and hopefully the NHL does something similar where everyone's in a hotel.
But Richie, is this going to be another Rudy Gobert situation where as soon as a guy tests positive, we shut everything down?
No, I don't think you should shut it down. I think there's enough testing right now, right? There's enough testing that you can test everyone, and whoever doesn't have it plays, and whoever has it. It's unfortunate if it's a superstar and him and, if Sidney Crosby gets it, and then Jake Gensel gets it, then the whole first line's gone, and that really hurts the Penguins. But that's what we have right now, right, in order to get games back. Other countries are doing it, so I think we can do it too.
Well, I think if they do truly get to a bubble, which is something that Dr. Anthony Fauci talked about with the NFL, which is what we're going to do next. We're going to talk about the NFL and what actually is realistic to expect when they come back. Because at this point, with people testing positive, it seems to me that players are getting a little apprehensive about what's going on. So we'll talk about that when we come up. We're also going to talk about the NHL and its hub cities. We know one, we think, is Vegas. What about the Canadian cities? Are they still available now that the Canadian government has said, we're going to take that 14-day quarantine rule and we're going to allow players to come into the country? So that'll change the dynamics about that. We're going to talk about it when we come back. But first, I want to tell you about number 1 Cochran. It's exciting when a team moves into a new building. That's certainly true with the team at number 1 Cochran Hyundai South Hills and their spacious new facility. Have you seen it? They only moved less than a mile up the street, but it's much improved. Right now, for a limited time, get special grand opening offers in both sales and service. It's the new number 1 Cochran Hyundai South Hills. It's now conveniently located at 3220 West Liberty Avenue. When we come back, Cam Hayward, Football Talk, is next. The number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by number 1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.